Leonie Whiting from Frogfish Cards. Today I'm going to bring you the part 2 of the Sandpipper card and Tealight set. So today in this video we are going to be doing the Tealight. We're going to require for the Tealight 2 pieces of craft paper, 7.5 by 7.5, 2 pieces of craft paper 3.5 by 8, 3 pieces of craft paper 2.5 by 3.25, 6 pieces of window sheet or acetate, whatever you would like to call it, at 2.5 by 3.25, 4 pieces of tip-tap-toe at 3.25 by 3.25, and 5 pieces of white, whisper white, at 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. 3 of the 4 panels on the Tealight have windows in them, so that the light shines through the glitter and it just makes a really nice effect. To do that effect, I use one glue dot on the tip-tap-toe and attach it to one glue dot and attach it to the white, making sure that you have an even border around the outside of your cardstock with the whisper white. So you want the tip-tap-toe evenly bordered with the whisper white. The big shot. Placing it on your cardstock, making sure that it's nice and even on all sides, placing a bit of removable tape to the cardstock, remembering that we're only doing 3 of the 4 panels like this, running it through the big shot. And as you can see, it cuts through both pieces of cardstock with relative ease. So you are left with 2 pieces of cardstock with your window intact. We also need to make 3 frames that go around that window. So to do that, you would place the larger oval, the one up from that small oval, and line them up so that they're nice and evenly spaced. Put your removable tape on it and place that on your plate. Placing your card so that it's completely covering both those ovals, thinlets, and running it through the big shots for your window out of the craft cardstock. Once you've made all 3 windows, you want to remove the cardstock from each other. So just gently take them apart and gluing to the back side of both of them your window sheet. Just like so. Put the white one aside, we don't need that just at this moment. And attach your frame that you've made from your craft paper. And with the Sandpipers from the Wetlands stamp set, we are going to stamp with Stays On ink across window. Towards the bottom edge of the window we are going to stamp the Sandpipers. And then we're just going to stamp them again, following through on the other side. Then at the bottom of the cardstock, we're going to put our reeds. Again using the Stays On. Like so. Now on the back panel of the Tealight, I have just stamped it the same as the window panels. The only difference is it doesn't have a window in it. So to make sure that it runs smoothly around the outside of the Tealight, I just place the paper next to a panel that I've already stamped with the Tealight and for the Tealight, and just stamp the Sandpipers so that they run true to that pattern that we've already stamped. And again you're putting your reeds on in the corner like so. Okay. To attach your tic-tac-toe porthole window to your white, you want to use the new fine strip dimensionals in the 2016-2017 catalogue, and I just put them slightly to the top of the oval, all the way around to the other side in as even a line as possible, and I cut here. And you'll see why I do this like this in a minute. That little bit can go across the bottom and get a fresh strip. And then you're just filling in that space that you have left out, like so. Just make sure when you do this that you don't bleed over your window, because you'll see it from the other side and that looks tacky. And again, you're just placing a little strip of it at the top. Now, the reason why I cut this section is so that I can leave little tags hanging up past the top of the card. And you'll understand that process once I have finished demonstrating this part of the Tealight to you. Then just remove the rest of the tape in its entirety, like so. Placing your white cardstock down, making sure that you have a nice even border, and if you do that, then you know that you have placed it immediately over the window that was cut in the white card. So we're using champagne glass glitter for this application. Unfortunately, it has been retired, but you can use any sort of glitter, or you can use sand, or you can use sequins, whatever you fancy to put inside your shaker. But for me, I'm using this today, and that's why we left those bits with the tape on, so that we could separate the two pieces of card to put our glitter in. And I'm just using 2 half teaspoons. Don't try and put a full teaspoon in by itself, you'll have glitter everywhere. Then those 2 tabs that you can see here, you just grab them, take them off, and adhere your window closed so that none of the glitter can fall out. 3 shaker windows, and 1 back panel, like so. Now, the back panel just requires some dimensional. I am using the thin strips so that the distance between the 2 lots of cardstock are the same all the way around the box. And adhering it to the white, making sure that you leave a nice even border around the outside edge, like so. Okay. So the next process is to create this sand-like effect that I have on all 4 sides of the Tealight. And how I did that was with soft suede. I have pushed the colour into the lid, like so, spritzed it, so that it's quite wet. Filled my aqua painter up with ink and just flick it onto your card stock just to give it a bit of a sand-like effect. On all 4 of your panels. Okay, just like that. Then with a piece of paper towel, you want to just clean up your window so there's no ink residue left there. And clean your aqua painter so that it runs clear. And then take the excess ink out of the lid. We're going to be creating the coloured paper. So we're starting with mint macaroon as our first blending colour. And you just want to cover the entire piece of cardstock, whisper white with the mint macaroon. And you just keep on applying colour until you are happy with the effect that it's giving you and the depth of colour. Just like so. The next colour we're going to be using is Soft Sky. And then the final colour is going to be Tempting Turquoise. And with the Tempting Turquoise, I just want to put the sponge on and give it a twist, just to make it look a bit like clouds or swell of an ocean or whatever you think. But I think it looks a bit like the swell of water when it's rushing about and coming in and out with the tide. Okay. So to make the base of your Tealight, you need 2 pieces of cardstock 7.5 by 7.5. You are scoring them identically. So we are scoring at 1/2 of an inch, then 4 inches, then turning it so that that 1/2 inch is to the top of your scoreboard, and you are scoring it at 3.5 inches and then 4 inches, like so. You do do them both identically. You cut them both identically. So we are cutting this rectangle out, like so, and this rectangle out. Then you are cutting down the central scored line to the first scored line, turning it 180 degrees and cutting the central scored line to the first scored line, like so. Then you fold all your scored lines. Fold all your score lines like so. Okay. Then on the inside of your base to the Tealight, you need to draw 2 crosses on 2 panels on the same side, and the inside is the side that the cardboard bubbles, not concaves, that bubbles. So that's the internal side of your Tealight base. And with a pencil and a ruler, I just want you to go from the scored line to the right hand cut edge and draw a line. And again, from the scored line to the right angled cut edge and draw another line, like so. And you do that on both these panels on the same side, so that you are working on the same side as the box, not on opposite sides, like so. Hopefully you can see that pencil line. Okay. I'd already done the other one earlier. Now on the other panel, you're only drawing a cross on one top panel. The cross is the central mark of that panel, and then you are placing your circle thinlet evenly spaced over that cross, folding the piece in half where it has been cut. So it's cut there like that. You're folding it in half, and then you're running it through the big shot. Folding it in half, placing the flat side of the thinlet down to the base of your big shot, top plate on, and running it through the big shot. So you are cutting through both those panels at the same time. When doing the next section, we don't want to cut through both panels on the top side. So in order to not do that, what you need to do is centralise it again so that it's nice and central, and then using removable tape, adhering it to the panel, the circle thinlet to the panel, then folding the one that you don't want cut underneath so that the flat side of the framelit is to the side, the panel that you don't want to cut. Then you are running it again through the big shot. you can see that this side is not cut, there's no hole in there, and this side is cut, which is what we wanted. Circle with the cross in the middle of it onto the piece that has not been cut, like so. And I can get it nice and even. That's it, that's what I wanted. And just line those lines up with the lines that are drawn on the panel and trace around it. And with a hole punch, I have a crocodile, but if you don't have a crocodile, then any sort of hole punch is fine. You need to put a hole where the two lines meet in the central of the cross. Like so. Then we need to cut the 4 lines that make the cross to the line that we traced around the circle. So we're then cutting each of those quarters into 8ths, and then each of those 8ths into 16ths. So that you end up with 16 wedges. So that when you close your box, that this is on the side that you require to go inside the box, so that you don't have that tab hanging on the outer edge of the box. Like so. Then what you need to do is you want to fold these out like such, similar to how I do all my boxes, and you are gluing these 3 that have the circle cut out of them. So you just want to run some glue around the outside edge and then around the circle on these 3 only. Just like that. Then you are turning it over and putting your glue side down, then your glued side down, and then your glued side down, and then your final side, which is the side with just the slits in it. I don't like that, it's not sitting straight. That's better. Like so. Like that. Okay, just like that. Then you want to go ahead and do the other side. Again, using the same principle, where you're only gluing 3 of your flaps. And this time you only have to glue around the outside edge. Turn it over, bring your flaps in. And that creates the base of your Tealight. Now the reason why we only cut these into sections is so that you can push it down and fold it under, and that's where you place your Tealight. Once